seated, thank you. And we'll continue.
Mr. Stangeland, in front of you is a transcript that's marked 251A, I believe. Is that correct?
259A.
259A.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like you to turn to page 18 on that transcript.
Okay.
Toward the lower part of it, do you recollect Mr. Mueller asked you to look at that transcript and to read the response that you had given on it?
Yes.
And before you looked at that transcript, am I correct that you had another transcript that had been shown to you by Mr. Mueller?
Yes.
And I'm going to show you what's been marked S259.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you to turn to page 18 and 259.
Okay.
And to look at the same paragraph.
Yes, sir.
With regard to the transcript 259,
Yes,
which
sir.
is the first one you were shown,
Yes, sir. This
does that accurately reflect what Mr. Mueller asked you to initially read?
Yep.
And when I just asked you a question as to if you could sum up in one word why things happened that happened, you used the word. Is that correct?
Yes.
What was the word?
Forced.
And you agree that there's a difference between the two transcripts that were made, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's look at 259, S259. Okay.
Okay.
Could you tell me the date of the interview?
June 28th, 2010.
Could you tell me who prepared that transcript?
It says transcribed by Sue Squire, Legal Secretary, Sussex County Prosecutor's Office.
Is there a date?
Yes, sir.
What date?
January 6th of 2015.
Let me turn you to 259A.
Okay.
That's the second transcript, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that have a date for the interview?
Yes, sir.
What date is on that?
February 6th of 2015.
And who prepared that?
That's Sue Squire, Legal Secretary of the Sussex County Prosecutor's Office.
And what's the date?
It's the June 28th, 2010 interview.
What's the date of the preparation?
No, February 6th of 2015.
So the dates on the two transcripts are different?
Yeah, by 1 month, yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stangeland, let's move on to you were asked by Mr. Mueller with regard to whether or not you and Lonnie Swarns and Andrew Wadle did anything to hide your identities from Mr. Jeffrey Mueller. Do you recall that question?
Yes, sir.
And my recollection is that you said no.
No,
Correct.
I did not.
Was there a particular reason why you felt initially you needed to hide your identity?
I didn't, like I say, know what to think.
Okay. When you went to the Scammell residence, you wore masks, correct?
Yes, Billy Barger told us to.
Okay. Did Billy Barger tell you anything with regard to hiding your identity when Mr. Mueller was abducted?
No.
Did you have masks in the vehicle?
Yes.
Did you ever think to use them?
No.
When you abducted Jeffrey Mueller at the pet store in the parking lot,
Yes.
you and the other individuals, you indicated, according to what I recollect, that you were looking for Jeffrey Mueller, who was involved with the, I'm sorry, strike that. You were expecting to find an individual named Jeffrey Mueller who had originally been involved with Roy Slates, correct?
Yes, sir.
And subsequently, you determined in your mind it was the wrong one.
Yes.
But at that point, when you were there, the Jeffrey Mueller that you got, he was supposed to be the one that Roy Slates had told you about.
Yes.
Did you know anything about the background of this individual?
Just on the report that Billy Barger provided.
I asked you initially whether you had any criminal record, correct?
Yes.
And your answer was?
No.
Did you, in any way, shape, or form think that the individual that you were taking out of the pet store parking lot was a criminal?
I didn't know. It's what Billy Barger said.
Did you and the other individuals involved expect Jeff Mueller to fight back at the point when he was told to get in the car?
No.
And you were in the passenger side of the motor vehicle at that point, front seat?
Yes.
There was some talk, Mr. Mueller asked you about sleeping bags and blocks or bricks and chains and putting someone in the water.
Yes.
Did you ever suggest that that was a way to get rid of anyone?
No.
Who was it who made that suggestion?
Billy Barger.
What was the context that was brought to your attention?
That was in a conversation after a show that was on TV, that's a Hell's Angels trademark way of doing things.
Did Billy Barger ever tell you that that was the way you were supposed to dispose of Jeff Mueller?
No.
Did Billy Barger ever tell you you were going to dispose of Jeff Mueller?
No.
When you were driving from New Jersey into Pennsylvania, you indicated at some point in time that you were going to stop in Clearfield,
Yes.
and that was the point that you were told you were going to be met by other individuals.
Yes.
Did you learn before you got to Clearfield or when you got to Clearfield that those individuals would not be there?
Not until after.
So after you arrived there?
Yes.
How did you know the sheriff from Du Bois, Pennsylvania?
It's somewhat of a, not a real long story, but I could try to sum it up quick if you'd like.
Could you tell me real quickly?
Okay. My second ex-wife, her oldest son was in the Air Force, and he was out of an air base in Iceland, and him and some other Air Force guys came back for a wedding that was being held in Du Bois, Pennsylvania. He was one of the groomsmen. After the rehearsal dinner, the uncle of the groom took the three guys, or four guys, the Air Force men, for a ride in his new BMW to show them how well it handled on the windy, curvy, hilly roads around Du Bois. And they were involved in an accident. And my ex's son was the only one that was killed in that accident. So after that happened, like in either 2003 or 4, I don't remember exactly, there were lots of communication and back and forth with the officer who handled the whole crash and investigation that followed, and there was alcohol involved, and followed up with a court, the whole thing for involuntary manslaughter and reckless endangerment, I believe is what he was charged for, and went to prison over, but she made several trips to Du Bois, Pennsylvania, and her and the officer, Rod Fairman, developed a relationship.
I see.
And
That's how you knew who the sheriff in Du Bois was?
yes.
Now, was he the actual top guy, sheriff? Or
Well,
was
he ended up being promoted to chief of police after, I don't know if it was a year about after that accident or like a little bit later.
Mr. Mueller asked you about your intention to go to Du Bois and to basically give up Jeff Mueller to that particular individual. Do you recall that?
Yes.
What was your plan, if in fact there was one, with regard to that issue?
The best I could figure out is if anyone did approach us, Lonnie would be the one to get out and meet with them or whatever. So I'd have him out of the car, and I figured Andy would probably get out, Wadle at the same time, and I could just simply drive away and get away from him in the confusion and head to the police department.
Why would you do that, knowing that Billy Barger would find that out?
I didn't know I just didn't want Mr. Mueller to end up in the hands of, I was convinced at that point, like I was earlier, that he was the wrong man.
Were you concerned for the safety of your son and your father at that point in time, being back in Missouri?
Yes,
That never came to pass, though, that you went to divorce, correct?
no,
Went right past the exit?
yes,
Why was that?
because no one showed up, so I could, what do you want to say, start that plan or whatever.
So on your way back from New Jersey to Missouri, Mr. Mueller asked you if you could reflect upon your answer that the breakdown was the answer to solving the problem.
Yes,
Do you recall him asking you
Yes.
that? Or you saying that?
yes, I remember him, yes, asking us.
What exactly did you mean by that statement?
We were stopped. We weren't back to Billy Barger. He did not have possession of Mr. Mueller. It was just the opportunity to let him get away.
And how did you feel Billy Barger would react to learning the news that Jeff Mueller got away?
Just another one of my screw-ups or blunders, follow-ups, whatever you want to call it.
Were you concerned about retribution to your father and your son if Jeff Mueller got away?
No, because he was not at the house at that time. He was already within 20 miles before, or he said 20 minutes is where he was. So I knew he wasn't close to him.
What did you mean by solving the problem?
A reason to stop and not continue to him.
Some point you indicated that you felt you were pushing Billy too far and he was getting upset.
Yes,
You recall making that statement?
yes,
And that was in response to a question Mr. Mueller asked you with regard to Billy Barger, as I recall. Do you recall what it was about?
not exactly, but I always hesitated and didn't fully cooperate as much as I could get by with.
Was a person named Phil Lucero ever a member of, or a prospective member of the chapter?
He was supposed to be, yes, he was represented to be.
And what was Phil Lucero's occupation?
Tattoo shop.
Were you present at a time when Kim Hunter received a tattoo from Phil Lucero regarding the Hells Angels?
Yes.
What exactly occurred in that regard?
Well, it was supposed to say property of Barger, B-A-R-G-E-R, but Phil spelled Barger wrong. I don't remember if it was the R, one of them, that he changed into a D or something, but it just, he followed up on the spelling.
And what was the result with regard to Billy Barger in that regard?
He was more or less kicked out, and none of us were to have any contact with him.
And who did that? Who kicked him out?
But Billy Barger.
Were there any threats made that you know of regarding Phil Lucero?
I heard him say just about being a dumbass and whatever, he deserves to be shot. But I just overheard a phone conversation.
Was there a time when Billy Barger was out on the deck of your house and became involved in an altercation with another individual?
Yes,
And as a result of it, was that individual struck?
yes,
By whom?
Billy Barger.
And as a result of it, what injury did you observe on that person?
The the man started bleeding from his mouth, and I don't know if it was from a split lip or from a tooth. I don't know for sure, but he had a fair amount of blood down in front of him, and on his shirt and pants, and I'm then out of the deck.
And ultimately, was there a conversation with regard to your son and cleaning that up that you know
of? When I came back the next morning from doing the vetting route, my son was out there with a garden hose and sandpaper cleaning the deck,
of? What was he cleaning from the deck?
the blood.
Sheriff's Officer Schloop testified in this courtroom, and Mr. Mueller asked you about whether or not Officer Schloop could have provided you with protection.
Yes.
And in that regard, what was your opinion concerning Officer Schloop and the Vernon County Sheriff's Department providing you with protection from Billy Barger?
Like I stated before, I've known them all for years, and many of them before they even worked for the sheriff's office. And it was just kind of a joke around town, or the talk around town, that we had our own little Mayberry and a group of Barney Fifes.
Do you feel that you would be protected by the Vernon County Sheriff's Department?
No, sir.
How about by the Bates County Sheriff's Department? Did you feel that they would protect you?
They'd already turned their back and basically ignored getting their lives threatened. So I thought I was completely on my own on what do I do.
Mr. Mueller asked you about the Scammell incident, and he asked you regarding that incident when you came back and saw Billy. Billy made a comment to you, you don't leave live witnesses. Do you
Yes.
recall that?
Yes.
And that was your testimony, correct?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And Billy didn't suggest that you should go back and do something further to the Scammells, did he?
No. I should have taken care of it while you were there.
I have nothing further, Judge.
Thank you. Sir, I want to begin by talking about this plan with the chief and the boys. You indicated, and I just want to make sure I'm getting this correct, that the plan was that when the Hells Angels showed up, you assumed that Lonnie would get out of the car.
Yes.
You assumed Andrew Wiggle would get out of the car.
Hopefully, yes.
Now, when did you formulate this plan that you were going to take off and speed up?
As we were driving down the highway.
As you were driving down the highway, and you said you formulated this plan to go to the chief because you had the wrong guy. You realized that you had the wrong guy.
In my opinion, he was, yes.
Okay. What if you had the right guy? What would you have done then?
Then he had a good story, and he would have got the same treatment.
You mean, so would have gone to the boys,
Yeah.
to the chief?
Yes.
What would you have done if Lonnie didn't get out of the car? How did you know Lonnie would get out of the car?
I don't know. He was the one supposed to be in charge, so I figured he'd be the first one to get out to want to greet the approaching people or whatever.
What if the Hells Angels just pulled Jeff out of the back of the car, and then that was that?
I don't know.
Right, then what would have happened? What would have happened to Jeff at that point?
I have no idea. Just I would have tried to take off, but I don't know what would have happened with Lonnie and Wade both still in the car.
You would have tried to take off?
I would have tried to.
All right, so under this scenario, the Hells Angels have pulled Jeff out of the car. They're now probably bringing him to the river, weighing him down in a sleeping bag, chucking him in the river after shooting him. And you're speeding off to the sheriff, chief and the boys?
I don't know what, it never came to pass, so I don't know what would have happened.
Okay. And you never went to the chief, right?
No,
With the boys?
no.
So let me ask you this, why would you wait until the Hells Angels, this betrayal, you're finally going to betray Billy Barger, Sonny Barger, the Hells Angels. Why were you going to wait until the Hells Angels were present right in front of you there in the parking lot near Clearfield to betray the Hells Angels, why were you going to do it right in your presence rather than at some other time?
Couldn't think of anything else to do.
No, I
And
understand.
try to get Lonnie out of the car.
Does that make any sense to you, though?
Not really.
Me neither. You said that you didn't go to the police because you thought that Officer or Deputy Schlup was Barney Fife, this was Mayberry. There was nobody locally that you could go to, correct?
I didn't feel any of them could get us, protect us or anything else by calling out the National Guard against these guys.
Did you ever hear of the Witness Protection Program? You ever heard of that?
I've heard of it, yes.
What do you think the Witness Protection Program is?
When it's involved in the Hells Angels, it's the way to get killed.
That's what you know about the Witness Protection Program?
That they will find you no matter where you are. Yes, what I was led to believe.
What example do you have of that?
Shows on TV.
What show?
Whatever forensic files or Gangland, whatever, they'll find anybody anywhere.
There's a Hells Angels law?
Yes,
Can you give an example?
but just what was on TV.
You saw that on TV.
Yes,
Did you make any inquiry? Let me ask you this. The federal government, according to you, you thought Sonny Barger was involved, right?
yes,
Sonny Barger is the head of the Hells Angels.
that's what I was told, yes,
He's been the face of the organization for decades.
yes.
If Sonny Barger was in fact involved in some sort of plot to kidnap somebody, conduct a home invasion, do you think that's something that the federal government might have been interested in, the FBI?
I have no idea.
You know,
I didn't know who to go to.
you never made an inquiry, though, did you?
There's no way I could.
Why is that?
I was told I was being followed at all times.
Where was the last stop that you made on this trip back with Jeff Muller?
A gas station in Kingdom City, Missouri.
Kingdom City, Missouri. How close were you to your ultimate destination at that point?
Maybe 170, 180 miles from there.
Did you fill the tank?
Yes,
So that would have been your last stop, correct?
possibly.
Why else would you have stopped?
If bathroom or something like that, something to eat.
You had enough gas though to get to Nevada, right?
I believe so.
You said that there was no way you were going to let Jeff Muller get back to Billy Barger, correct?
Yes,
Because you knew he would beat you.
yes,
In Kingdom City, that's the name of the place?
yes.
170 miles from your destination. You had been driving the entire way up until that point.
Yes.
Where were you going? What was the plan? How were you gonna prevent Jeff Muller from getting to Billy Barger? What was your specific plan?
I don't know exactly how it was gonna end up, but I was not gonna let Jeff Muller get to Billy Barger.
Are you saying that you had no plan?
I didn't know what, I was gonna do something, but I was not taking him to my house, like Barger wanted to happen.
How many states did you pass through on your way from New Jersey to Missouri?
Yeah. New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, I don't know, 5, 6.
That whole time, who was in control of the car?
I was.
That last stop in Kingdom City, you turned over control of the car to whom?
Andrew Wade.
So now at this point, you're 170 miles from your destination. You're no longer even in control of the situation, correct? You turned over the car to Andrew Wadle
To drive, yes.
to drive. How are you going to stop this? You're not even driving the car anymore. You had every opportunity from New Jersey to up until 170 miles to do something. You're in control. At any one of these stops, you could have taken off when Bonnie or Andrew went into, whatever convenience store to get their Slim Jims or whatever else. You could have taken off with Jeff Muller. But you want us to believe that after you had turned over
Yes.
control of the car to Andrew Wadle, that's when you were going to make your move, when you were just within a couple of hours of Billy Barger and your destination?
we were having to stop every hour, hour and a half anyway, so Lonnie could get something to eat or insulin shot or whatever. So I knew we'd be stopping again between there and Nevada, because it's not interstate. There's sections of 4-lane highway, and then there's sections of narrow 2-lane highway that are curvy and hilly.
You just testified a minute ago that you didn't know if you would stop again and you had enough gas to get to your destination. You're now saying you knew you would stop?
I said we didn't need any more gas. I didn't know if we were gonna stop again or not.
You didn't know if you would stop again.
I never said we weren't gonna stop again.
I know, but you didn't know. You didn't know that you would.
No, I didn't know if we'd need any more gas.
Sir, did you know or didn't you know if you were going to stop again?
I knew we were gonna stop. We had been every hour, hour and a half on the whole trip coming back.
Why would you need to do that? Why couldn't Lonnie just buy whatever food he might need at that last Kingdom City stop?
It didn't work that way. We still had, even though it was only 170 miles, roughly 3 hours worth of driving to go because of the road.
You testified last week that you made 4 stops during this entire trip, correct?
Yes,
So how is it that you're stopping every hour to hour and a half?
because Lonnie had to, or
Well, how does that equate to 4 stops, sir? We just traveled 2,400 miles in roughly a 20 to 24 hour period. That would equate to a stop every 5-6 hours.
it's not,
What's that?
it's not that many miles, sir.
It's not that many miles.
At that time, I think we were only at about 1,000.
At about 1,000. And about how long into the trip? 18, 20 hours?
Something odd like that.
Right, so if we divide 4 into 20, that's a stop, how many hours?
Like about every 5.
Right, not an hour and a half, correct?
Lonnie was starting to have some difficulties and trouble.
So it's your testimony, just so I understand. And for this 20-hour period, you have control of the car, you have control of the situation. You don't let Jeff Muller go. But it's only after you turn control of the car over to Andrew Wiggle, and you're within an hour and a half, 2 hours of your destination. It was at that point you were going to make your move, correct?
That's the first time an opportunity came up.
That's the first time. What opportunity came up?
To be able to get him released.
What, you mean at Rick's C-Store?
Yes,
That only occurred because the car broke down, sir. It had nothing to do with you.
that was the best opportunity.
I know, that was by happenstance. What would you have done had that car not broken down?
I don't know.
Sir, does this sound strange to you? Your story?
No,
It doesn't?
no,
I want you to explain it to me then, how you were going to let him go.
just like what happened. Something was gonna come up that it was gonna present itself. A
You knew the
chance-
car would break down?
No, I didn't know the car would break down. A chance hopefully would present itself.
Just play. If you go to section 1, it's 2555. You got anything? Sir, Mr. Morrison asked you if you could use one word to describe how you felt. You said that you would use the word forced, right?
Yes,
And it turned out, you testified last week, that you did in fact use the word force in your June 28, 2010 statement.
yes, I
right?
did.
You did.
Yes, I
And
did.
you're certain of that.
Yes, I did. I just seen it.
Are you as certain of that as everything else you testified to here today and last week?
I might have said forced and stupid.
Forced, but you used the word forced, correct?
Yes,
And it was then in the context of this forced come statement, stupid is as stupid does, right?
I believe so.
And you're absolutely positive that you used the word forced. You recall it. You
I used the
remember.
word forced, yes. It says so right in that statement, sir. Right in that transcript.
So let's take a look at the most recent transcript, the one from February 6th. What does it say on page 18? Look at the bottom. Read that sentence.
This one says, well, as Forrest Gump, you know simple is as simple does. So, but he gets her moved in, and pretty soon their kids are moved in.
You don't use the workforce there, correct?
Not on that one right there.
Let's go to the other one. What does it say there?
Well, I was forced, you know. Simple is as simple does, but,
Okay, you can stop there. Now, beyond the fact that that doesn't even make sense, while it's forced, simple is as simple does, Forrest Gump does make sense. Let's play what you actually said.
Okay. I know, stupid me. Well, I was forced, simple is as simple does, so,
And you can go back and do that again. We're gonna play this a couple times.
it's okay, I know, stupid me. Well, I was forced, simple is as simple does, so,
Go back and play it again.
that he, I hear how's that? Yes, okay, I know, stupid me. Well, I was forced, simple is as simple does, so,
Are you saying Forrest Gump, or are you saying Forrest Gump there?
I'm not sure. It possibly might be Forrest, I don't know.
My point, sir, is you gave 4 statements to the police. And the only time that you can even remotely point to the word coerce, force, anything, is a typographical error in the transcript, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Hold on one second. I think I'll ask that the question be rephrased because there may not be agreement regarding the formulation.
I can rephrase it.
Okay.
Anywhere else? Is there anywhere else where you said that you use the word force, where you explained that you were forced to do anything?
I know I did several times, I just don't know exactly where.
That's your testimony. You said several times that you were forced to do this, right?
And lots of what I said is not in these transcripts. So,
It's not.
no.
Is it on the disc? Is it
I
on
don't
the audio?
know. I have no ability to listen to the disc.
Okay. The context in which we're talking about Forrest Gump here and stupid is and stupid does, you were talking about why you let Billy Barger into your house, right?
I guess that's, I believe that's what the conversation is around, yes.
Right, you testified very clearly last week that you were never forced to let Billy Barger into the house, that in fact, the statement was the family would appreciate it if you would let Billy stay, correct?
On that first night.
It also benefited you, correct? Because you couldn't pay your mortgage at the time. Billy had a plan to basically bail you out, that Sonny was gonna pay your mortgage, he was gonna buy the house from you, and you and your son could live there rent-free. And that's what
Not
you
at
told
that
the
time.
police. What's that?
Not at that time.
You did. Is that not what you told the police?
Not at that time. When it first when all this first happened in June, no, not at that time.
Okay. Well, when did you learn that Billy was gonna buy your house from you?
That's what he was stating in either, I believe he started that in September,
In September.
but I'm not sure exactly on the date, it's too long ago.
And he was gonna let you live there rent-free, correct?
That was his idea, yes.
So this was a way, and you couldn't pay your mortgage, this was a way for you and your son to stay in the house that you had built, right? This house that you wanted to stay in. He was providing a mechanism by which you would be able to do that, correct?
No,
How is that not a mechanism by which you could do that? If you could stay in your own home rent-free.
I could have paid my own payments if he was not taking the money.
But you didn't know that at the time. We're talking about your state of mind at the time, back in September.
I could have made my own payments if it wasn't for having to support him.
It's not the question. At the time, this was a financially beneficial arrangement for you because Billy Barger was going to buy your house and allow you to stay there rent-free. At the time, you believed that that was a good financial arrangement for you.
No, I did not.
You did not.
No, I did not.
Okay. You couldn't pay your mortgage, you didn't know why. How are you gonna keep your house if Billy Barger didn't do this for you?
If I could have got him out of there, I would have handled it just fine for 15 years. I could have done it again. I had income. It was just seeping through the cracks, and every time my van would pull in the driveway, it'd get things taken off of it, money taken out. If I had my money and able to make my own payments without being intercepted,
And how did you learn that your money was being intercepted?
Kim,
Kim, when did she tell you that?
I don't remember the exact time, but I found an envelope laying on the counter. And it's like, who opened this? Because I recognized the company it was from. It was one of the load checks that I referred to before.
You mentioned this person, Deacon.
Yes,
He was supposed to meet you in Newton, and he was supposed to somehow take part in this with you.
now he's gonna make sure we get what we were assigned to do.
Where were you supposed to meet Deacon?
There was no set place, he would just be watching. And if we didn't do what we were supposed to do, he would do us.
Where would he be watching from?
I have no idea.
You never saw Deacon.
No, I have no idea.
You now know Deacon doesn't even exist.
That's right, now, yes.
You testified that he did in fact call John,
Yes,
and you had asked him if he was going to Sturgis?
I never talked to him.
He asked you if he was
His
going.
wife.
His wife. What is Sturgis?
We're the largest motorcycle rally in the United States is held each year.
If he was affiliated with the Hells Angels, would you expect that would be something that he would go to?
Yes,
And what did his wife tell you?
that, no, he wasn't going to.
And that he had never been, correct? Isn't that what he testified to?
No, just that he had never,
Right, he had never been to Sturgis. Didn't that raise a question in your mind?
I didn't know what to think. Either they're just trying to stay out of sight or whatever.
I think you testified today that you had no reason to believe that Billy Barger wasn't who he said he was.
Yes,
Isn't rule number one for a Hells Angel, a real Hells Angel, that not only do you have to own a motorcycle, you have to ride it at all times? Isn't that rule one for any Hells Angels?
I don't know.
When's the last time you saw Hells Angels riding around in a Kia?
Like I said, I've never seen him.
Right. They're always on motorcycles, aren't they?
I don't know.
You knew Billy Barger for 10 to 12 years, right?
Yes,
Never saw the man on a motorcycle, not once.
no,
Never saw him with a patch on his back, right?
no.
You always said that he was going to produce Deacon, hundreds of Hells Angels that just sort of popped out of nowhere, correct?
Yes,
Not one time was he ever able to produce a single one, correct?
no.
You don't think that should have raised a question in your mind, that maybe what Billy's telling me isn't real?
No.
Sir, we've previously marked this as S236. You recognize this?
Yes,
That's yours, is it not? Your portfolio?
yes.
That was found in your vehicle?
That's exactly where I left it, yes.
Let's take a look at the contents. Contents of this. Here we have an envelope, correct?
That bank bag,
Bank bag. What's your name on it?
my name.
Doug Stangeland.
No.
Boss Stangeland. Is this your journal?
That's a notebook I had, yes,
Is this your handwriting?
yes.
Let's you take a look at the second entry in this notebook. Did you write that?
Yes.
Sir, it's your, why did you write that?
To have a rough draft of what to be sent in an email.
And who are you going to send that to?
I believe that one was going to Chief Sonny Barger.
And were you forced to write that?
Yes.
Who forced you and how did they force you?
Told us you never speak with any disrespect or email anything of a smartass or sarcastic nature to Sonny Barger or Chief, whichever you want to refer to him as. And that he was asking questions and you always answer in a polite and courteous way.
Did you send him a disrespecting email?
No,
You never did.
no,
Okay, so somebody told you you got to be nice to the chief.
yes, at all times.
Okay. Let's take a look at exactly what you said to Sonny Barger.
Mhm.
Read it out loud.
Sir, with no disrespect intended, if I were alone, I would proceed, but I have Silverback with me, and as you have ordered, I cannot discuss this with him.
Let me stop you right there. Are you referring to this is the first kidnapping mission that we're talking about here?
Yes,
Okay. So you're clearly in charge. You're not even allowed to talk to Lonnie, who's Silverback, right? You're not supposed to tell him anything. You're the man. You're in charge, right?
we had just switched cars earlier, and yes, he had just.
You're not even allowed to talk to Lonnie about any details of this. You're the man. You're in charge.
Yes,
Keep reading.
I cannot discuss this with, as you have ordered, I cannot discuss this with him. His sugar crashed last night when Prospect and I met up with Brutal and Silverback. After eating and 2 shots, he got it under control. I do not know how stable he is. Sir, will I be given or can I have the intel on the subject? I do not know how to tell Silverback that we will have no help. I do not feel right taking him in blind and risk him getting hurt. His safety is very important to me. He did not know he was the one to stay with me because he was left behind due to health reasons on Saturday.
Stop you right there. If you had stopped the email right at that moment, didn't say anything else, you would agree with me that you're being pretty respectful to the chief, correct?
Trying to, yes.
Sure. You could have stopped the email right there. But go on. What do you say after that?
This is because I had followed up so many things previously.
No, I'm not asking why. I'm asking you to read it. Read
Oh,
what you
okay.
said.
I would like to complete the mission and to redeem myself with the family. I would like to be able to correct my mistakes and apologize to the family and any brothers I may have put in possible danger. That was not my intent.
I would like to complete the mission. I would like to complete the mission. That's what you tell him, right? Correct?
Yes,
You told him you wanted to do this.
yes,
I want to redeem myself with you. Right?
what else are you gonna tell to somebody with that kind of power?
We already talked about how you could have just left the email right where it was before this paragraph. You're telling him you want to redeem yourself with the family, correct? That's what you said.
Sir, I was
Yes or no, is that what you said?
1,000
Is
miles
that
from
what you
home.
said? Is that what you said?
I was worried about my son and
Is
dad.
that what you
well-being,
said? Is that what you said?
Because I was
Yes or
worried
no?
about my dad and son's well-being.
Sir, I know you don't want to answer the question, but is that what you said?
That's what I wrote there, yes.
I would like to be able to correct my mistakes. That's what you said, correct?
I don't know what was sent in the actual email because I haven't seen that one.
And I want to apologize.
That's what's written in the rough draft, yes.
Now, doesn't sound like a man that is forced to me. Doesn't sound like a man that doesn't want to be part of the Hells Angels to me, does it?
How would you talk to Sonny Barger?
You said, sir, that you did not believe that you would get any resistance from Jeff Muller, correct?
That was what we were told.
Why the stun gun? Why the 3 handguns? You weren't gonna get any resistance.
That's what I was going to order.
Why the zip ties if you weren't going to get any resistance?
That's what we were ordered to do.
Why the threat to his family that if he didn't cooperate, you were going to kill his wife?
Also another order from Billy Barger on how to handle things.
you say all those things are designed to control the victim to make sure he complied with you?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Morris?
Yes, Judge. The reference that Mr. Mueller made to the draft of the email, that was your handwriting, correct?
But yes,
Did you ever send that email to your knowledge?
I don't know if it was sent in those words or not. It was in amongst those 320 that were talked about in a statement from some law enforcement from somewhere.
Did you ever see it? You ever see that email?
No, I don't remember the finished or the final version, no, sir.
Do you have an independent recollection of sending it to Sonny Barger?
Yes,
So there were communications that you believed were directly going to Sonny Barger.
yes,
And looking back now, if you in fact sent it, it obviously never got to Sonny Barger, correct?
no, sir.
Okay. But your reason for sending it was because you wanted to show Sonny Barger that you were contrite about the failures that you have been exhibiting to he and the family, correct?
Yeah, I tried to, yes, sir.
And why would you do that? What would be your motive in trying to get Sonny Barger to accept the fact that you were being apologetic?
That my son and dad were 1,000 miles away, and I was worried about them.
And isn't that what this is all about? Why you would send emails to Sonny Barger?
Yes, absolutely.
Threats to your son and your father.
Yes, if I didn't carry out the mission that I was ordered to do.
When you went the second time to New Jersey, you had a handgun with you, correct?
Yes,
And that was a .38 snub-nosed detective special,
yes,
correct?
sir. Yes,
That was your gun.
yes,
It was found in the glove box of your motor vehicle, correct?
yes, yes, sir.
And that's in Lake Ozark or Lake of the Ozarks.
Yes,
You said you removed that handgun from the car when you went into the motel in East Stroudsburg, if I'm correct.
yes, sir.
And when you came out of the motel on the morning of the abduction of Mr. Mueller, you put it in that glove box?
Yes,
Did you ever remove it during the course of the journey from New Jersey to Lake Ozark from that glove box?
no, sir.
Did you ever use that gun to point it at Jeffrey Mueller or anybody else?
No.
Now, Mr. Mueller asked you whether or not it was your understanding that you didn't expect Jeffrey Mueller to fight back, correct?
Yes, sir.
Why was that?
Because what we were told is this was a con man that had taken several people combined for over millions of dollars, and that he, once he knew he was had, would voluntarily pay back what he owed, and it would be done.
And when Lonnie Swarns or someone threatened Jeffrey Mueller and his family while in the car on the journey from New Jersey to Missouri, that wasn't originally part of the plan, was it?
No,
And at one point in time, Billy Barger had told you, according to your testimony, to go into Mr. Jeffrey Mueller's house on Pines Road in Branchville, New Jersey, and to abduct him out of the house, correct?
yes,
And you and Lonnie decided not to do that, correct?
yes,
Who is Silverback?
that Lonnie Swarns,
Okay.
or Swearens, however.
And even though you never saw 100 Hells Angels or Nomads in Nevada, Missouri, did you believe that Billy Barger didn't have the ability to produce them?
I felt he did, and so did the Bates County Sheriff and Deputy.
Now, Mr. Mueller asked you about your decision at Rick's C-Store to let Jeff Mueller go.
Yes,
And I believe that originally, when you testified last Thursday, and I think I'm quoting you, the breakdown was the answer to solving the problem, correct?
yes.
What was the problem?
A way to get him loose, to get rid of him, get him out of the car.
And from New Jersey to Missouri, were you thinking about ways to solve the problem?
Yes,
And when the breakdown occurred, is it your testimony that that was the answer to how you could let Jeff Mueller go.
Yes,
And that's what ultimately happened, correct?
yes. It was a relief that it happened.
In front of you were 2 transcripts, correct?
Yes,
Mr. Mueller asked you to review your statements as is alleged in those transcripts, correct?
yes.
You didn't prepare those transcripts, did you?
No, sir.
And they both are purported to be by the same person from the Sussex County Prosecutor's Office, correct?
Yes,
And they're different, are they not?
yes,
But they purport to be transcripts of your testimony on the same day, June 28th, 2010, correct?
yes.
Do you know any reason why the prosecutor's office might improperly transcribe a transcript?
Objection, Judge.
Come on up, please.
Actually, it might be a good time for a recess, so we'll take about